Good morning everyone, from here down in the New Forest. I'm going to have to squeeze this little chat in quite quickly because it looks like it's about to pour with rain. First off, I hope that you're all well, washing your hands, self-isolating is necessary, and my thoughts go out to all of those who are at this point self-isolating. I thought I'd show you one of my favourite wildflowers to bring a bit of cheer to your life. It's a species called the Lesser Celandine, and it grows in my garden beneath this chestnut tree here. It's quite a large tree, and the strategy of the Lesser Celandine is to get all of its growth done early in the year, and on that account its lovely little waxy green heart-shaped leaves begin to appear in the winter time. Now let me try and reverse the camera and then I can show you the plant. Here it is down here. There are those waxy leaves that I spoke of, beautifully heart-shaped, and then at this time of year it produces these radially symmetrical flowers. This one's a little spoiled, and many of the others are closed at the moment. They open with the sunshine. Not a lot of that here in the New Forest this morning. It's a member of the buttercup family. You can see the similarity in the petals there, their texture and their colour, of course. And curiously, it's toxic. It's disliked by people who keep livestock because there is a chemical within the body of the plant that will turn into a toxin. And it's said if humans ingest it that it can produce dizziness, nausea, even seizures, so not something to nibble on. Well, I say not something to nibble on, but curiously, you can come back to me for this one, it does have another name. It's called pilewort, because beneath the ground, its little tubers with which it spreads vegetatively, it does produce seeds on occasion, up to 70 something per plant. But typically it spreads when the soil is disturbed, broken up by the grubbing of pigs or deer or badgers or humans, of course. Anyway, I digress. The tubers are said to look like piles, and as a consequence of that, it's long been used as a treatment for piles. Now, I know I've just said it's toxic, so how does that work? Well, you've got to cook it first. If you cook it, then the toxicity is terminated, and it becomes, useful as a herbal medicine. I'm told that in Russia, it's still sold in pharmacies for this purpose. What about that? And historically, it certainly had that use, pilewort, in your garden. It's also a very beautiful plant. I've got to say, look, here's a better one here, look. This one's in slightly better condition. Favourite of bumblebees when it's warm enough. I did see one flying across the garden earlier this morning, but it's disappeared now. Little splash of sunlight coming out at the moment. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. And when I've moved to the house here, this wasn't growing beneath the chestnut tree. I can't claim that I did the great work and brought it here, but I think that when we were digging around planting other wildflowers, maybe the tubers came in. Poets have been inspired by Lesser Celandine. It was a favourite of William Wordsworth, and I know he is more famous for his descriptions of hosts of golden daffodils, but he also wrote an ode to the celandine. You can find that online, I'm sure. And when he died, he wanted a celandine carved onto his tombstone. Yeah, well, that didn't happen, unfortunately, because they picked the wrong celandine. They carved the greater celandine on his memorial, not tombstone, his memorial. Yeah, so maybe he's a bit disappointed about that. What else is going on? Well, yesterday we started the Self-Isolating Bird Club. Self-isolating is going to be a challenge for all of us. Spending time indoors could be difficult for lots of people who are not fortunate enough to have a garden as I do. So we thought we'd have the Self-Isolating Bird Club because there's not an indoors with a window in the UK that you can't look out of and see a bird. So today we're going to ramp that up. I'm thinking probably over the next few days we might do best bird in the world. We can all steal pictures off the internet and post our fantasy birds. I know Yolo Birder is doing fantasy birding, so check that out on his Twitter feed as well. I'm hoping that I can contact the BTO and the RSPB later today to get them into self-isolating bird club mode as well, so that we can all share our reports. I've got to tell you, the first thing I saw when I came down today to let the poodles out, an ungodly hour, was a marsh tit on my feeder. And I'm going to be moving my feeder closer to the window now so that I can see those birds more easily. Not too close that it's going to be a problem for them. I'm thinking probably about 3 meters, and that should be safe for the birds and allow me to get better views of them whilst I'm self-isolating in my kitchen. You'll note that the poodles aren't here. I didn't want them here. They're young puppies. They would have been trampling all over my celandine. But of course, dog walking, for those of us with dogs, in an outdoor environment where we're minimising our social contact, keeping those social distances, washing our hands repeatedly, is going to be another means of sharing joy with the animals that we love, and also getting us out and about too. And lastly, it isn't being filmed by Megan McCubbin. She is up and awake. I'm going to be in trouble for putting that on my tweet. She has joined a community group in Southampton offering assistance to people who need it, and now that all the children are off school, she's offering to do one-to-one Skypes with families about wildlife, and we're looking into how we can use the photographic resources that we have in order to enhance that appeal. One last thing, don't want to go on and on and on and on, but typically I give talks in theatres to audiences of 500, 600, 800 people, but obviously at this time that's going to be impossible. Well, it's not, because we can do it online. So I'm going to be speaking to my technical people. That's Fabian Harrison, wonderful young bloke who basically guides me through all of this sort of stuff, later today, to see how I can do these talks free, of course, online, so you can tune in and watch them. And I've got about 20 of them, so that'll keep us going if you're in any way interested. Anyway, I hope you have a safe and secure day. Remember the protocols that have been put in place, of course. Keep washing your hands 20 seconds as regularly as possible. Any contact that you have with places where there could have been other people, it's worth just following that as much as you possibly can. And tomorrow, if it's not absolutely thumping down with rain, I've got another little plant which I could show you in the garden, which is, I'm looking at it now, it's a real beauty. I've been wanting to photograph it for some time, but I need the sun out to do that, to be honest with you. Maybe I'll get a splash of it later today. Who knows? All right, stay safe. See you later.